What is going on? Welcome back to the Underdog Investor audio experience. My name is Colin, and today I wanted to just talk about patience. It's our one of our favorite terms that we like to use in the UIG, but sometimes it's harder to apply than it is to talk about and to say, right? We can always say, hey, be patient, think long term, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to actually applying that into our investments or into our DeFi portfolio more specifically, it's harder to actually execute, right? It's harder to actually be patient than it is to um, just talk about. So, give you an example. I got into a position about 2 weeks ago, right? And within 48 hours of me entering that position, the value of the underlying assets had dropped 12%, right? So the value of my pool was down in dollar value. And when I was taking a look at my return, I was averaging about a really good cash flow play of about 18% per month. And when I was taking a look at all the statistics as I was inputting it in to track my liquidity, I said, "Oh goodness, when the value of the underlying assets drop by 12%, how many days would it take for me in my cash flow to sort of make up for the drop in value?" Right? That was something I was taking a look at. But questions that we need to ask ourselves is always, do I like these underlying assets? Are these underlying assets something that I would hold? And the answer for me was yes, absolutely, right? I would hold these assets. And so for me, I think Colin of old would have looked at that and sort of panicked. Oh, shoot, I got in at the wrong time. I misread the charts. And now the entry point that I thought was a good entry point wasn't because the assets fell in value. But I'm recording this today as I'm looking at my portfolio, and it's actually up in comparison to when I entered. And so not only did I recoup all the initial value because I was in that pool, it was a full range pool, an aerodrome for more specifics here, but not only did I recoup the value that I had lost, if you will, and I'm using quotes, air quotes here, that I lost, I recouped that, and now it is worth more than my first entry point, and that's only been 2 weeks since this happened. So, moral of the story here is do your due diligence with the pool prior to entry. Are these assets that you would want to hold, mid to long term? Over a course of a couple of months or longer, and if that's the case, then just patience. Just be patient, right? For me, this was a cash flow specific play. And so I was really focused on, hey, well, what are the projected APRs that I'm getting inside this pool? And again, for me, it's about 18% over the last couple of weeks, which is amazing. I will take that all day long. But I also want the underlying assets. I want the actual liquidity position to hold its own. I want it to stay as steady as possible. Because this is a cash flow play, I'm not necessarily looking for it to appreciate in value. That's kind of an extra bonus, but I just want it to retain its value so that I can continue to extract 18% per month of that value in this case, arrow emissions, so that I can move it into my bull run bag to start satisfying that overarching goal that I have for myself. And so again, to zoom out a little bit, when you enter a position, understand there is going to be volatility. The prices of the underlying assets are going to move up, and the prices of the underlying assets are going to move down. Maybe not necessarily in that order as well, right? For me, when I entered, they went down, and now they've come up. And so, in a couple of days, the prices might come down again, and that's just the nature of the beast. And so, for me, because this is a full range pool, there is I have to worry less about assets getting converted from one to the other in comparison to a traditional concentrated pool, right? Give an example. If I'm in a 15% wide range in my concentrated liquidity pool, well, if there's volatility in the market and the assets are moving in value, well, that might push me out of range, or I might get more converted into one of the assets that maybe is underperforming the other. And so for me, I love these full range pools on Aerodrome, not to go into that too specifically, but I love it because it allows me to have basically equal exposure to both of the underlying assets, as well as printing off some nice 18% per month cash flow. So at the moment of this recording, it has been working very, very well for me, but understanding that there's volatility in the underlying assets and the value of your pool is going to shift. One day it's going to be up, the next day it's going to be down, and might be up the next day after that. So just patience, take a deep breath, and look long term. Are you in positions that you would want to hold for the long term, or are you day trading with liquidity pools? There is a time and space for that, but if that's 100% of your portfolio, that can get quite exhausting. So, again, zoom out, be patient, and keep building. With that being said, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.